Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SC Media Network. I'm your host, Joseph Phillips, and today we're going to talk about a topic that just took place in the news recently, and that is the loss of the Chicago Bulls to the Indiana Pacers. There's three things I want to discuss about that loss, and the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Bulls' lack of interior presence in the low post. Yesterday, we were dominated by Domantas Sabonis. In addition to Miles Turner, with Domantas Sabonis, he finished with 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. And then also, Miles Turner finished with 12 points, and he had several blocks on the night. Now, the Bulls didn't address this position in the offseason because they felt that Patrick Williams would actually come through in the clutch for them. But as we know, Patrick was hurt against the New York Knicks. There was a battle going on, physical game, and he ended up dislocating his wrist. So now, what do the Bulls do? They need to go out and look for another serviceable power forward, a stretch four who can play the floor, both ends of the floor, for this Bulls team. Because right now, we're getting smashed in the rebounding area. For example, in last night's game against the Pacers, we were out-rebounded 58-39. That can't happen if you're going to compete for a championship in the near future. So there were three names out there that might interest you as Bulls fans that I would like to bring up. Maybe we can go out and sign and see if we can add these players to the roster. The first name that I'm going to throw out there is Derek Favors. Now, I know Favors, he's a very physical player. He played with the Utah Jazz last season. Currently, he's playing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think he's averaging like 5 points a game, 5 rebounds. And if you increase his minutes, that can turn into 10 points a game and possibly 8 to 10 rebounds. Something that we can use in the low post. I think he's an effective center that can run the floor, and he can give us the necessary minutes that we need to fill in for Patrick Williams. Forward number 2 on the list, I'll have to go with, I would have to say Marvin Bagley the third. Reason why I say Marvin Bagley the third, because right now he's in a situation with the Sacramento Kings where they're not playing him any minutes. So he's really displeased with his playing time, and he was a top 5 pick, 4 or 5 years ago. And I think he can actually come in and contribute right away. We can actually probably implement him in the starting lineup. He shoots 50% from the field. He can average nearly 14 points a game and probably nearly 9 rebounds a game as a serviceable stretch four. And last but not least, I know that most people won't agree with me, but I'll throw this name out there, and that is Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol, I know the last time you saw Marc Gasol, he wasn't conditioned that well, but he is an all-star caliber center who can probably play the low post position along with Nikola Vucevic, and I think he can really contribute to this Bulls team if we can use him in the right way. He's a good pick and pop candidate. I know that Tony Bradley Jr. He's not a mid-range guy, but he's more of a low post guy. And I think Mark can actually add that dimension to this Bulls team where you can stretch the defense a little bit just with the screen and roll. In addition to that, he can give us a low post presence. Now, who we give up for any of these forwards? I wouldn't trade Coby White at the moment because he's still trying to get his legs up under him. I think that Coby White can play a huge role off the bench, giving us that scoring that's needed when we're going through droughts and when teams are using boxing ones and zone defenses against Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Also, Coby White is starting to learn how to play the screen and roll well because last season he struggled in the first 2 or 3 months of the season trying to learn the screen and roll. And then at the last part of the season, he actually picked up the offense and played it well. Now, should Coby White be a starter? No. He's definitely not a starter, as we saw in that Pacers game. And I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why he's not a starter. First, I don't think that he plays good enough defense. Kobe White is not a defender. He's more of I would have to say, he's a help side defender. If he works on it, but he needs a lot of improvement on his man-to-man defense. I've seen on plenty of occasions where average guards just blow past him off the dribble, and he couldn't stop them. The goal of playing defense is to stay in front of your man, or at least um, try to steer your man to a help side defender. But I see none of that from Kobe White, unfortunately. And then my second point with Kobe White, why he shouldn't be a starter, because a lot of times he looks to get his shot off in the lineup, and I don't think he will get enough shot attempts playing with the starters in Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, uh, who pretty much they're going to get up at least 15 shots apiece. And probably that first or second quarter, so that's almost 30 shots divided between them two. And I don't think Kobe White will get a fair amount of shots if he is in that starting lineup. I think he'd be better off coming off the bench, where you got a lot of guys who aren't aggressive offensively. Far as when it comes to shooting the ball, I think Ayo Dosunmu may have the ability to create a shot off the dribble. And there's two more additional bench pieces that may do the same thing. The third reason why I think Kobe White should not be a starter is the fact that he's undersized. I don't think he can match up with anyone when it comes to the 3 and 4 position, and he's playing the 2-guard position. And if you got a 4-guard lineup out there, I think that teams are going to be anxious to go at Kobe on the other end. I think he gives up more points than he scores. As I saw in last night's game, he wasn't ready to go, and he was kind of a little bit off guard. So that was my 3 reasons why Kobe White should not be a starter. The last topic I want to talk about before we close out this video, and that is the emergence of this Bulls team. Now, one of the things I like about this Bulls team, I will tell you, 3 things I like. One, they are great in transition. They like to run the floor. They pass well. There's a lot of help side defense. They set screens well. And they're very efficient in the half-court game. And in addition to that, they have 4 players out there that can actually shoot the ball, including the center, Nikola Vucevic. The second thing I like about this Bulls team is that they have a high IQ, high basketball IQ, meaning that you got a lot of players out there who want to play the game the right way, but they actually have several players on their team that know how to play the game the right way, making great decisions. Just understanding situations, understanding shot selection, understanding when to pass the ball, when to dribble the ball, also understanding when to help on defense and when not to help on defense. And just the most important thing when you're playing as a high IQ basketball player is communication. And I see a lot of that from this year's team. I know last night they lost by 30 points, and that can't happen. They have to continue to play hard as if every game is the last game, because there's several things that can take place this season, as far as just with contractual issues. With Zach LaVine, will be asking for max dollars after this season. And he did say to the Bulls organization that if the team don't win this year, he's going to test take his talent to free agency. So, and I don't really trust that, especially with the suspicion of Rich Paul from Clutch Sports, who I don't trust because he's a friend of LeBron James, who will be doing all of Zach LaVine's business. And at any moment, I've seen how Chris Paul has handled NBA business, and it's definitely not professional. So, and last, what I like about this Bulls team is that they're not afraid to challenge anyone. And on that note, I want to close it out by saying that This Bulls team can possibly go all the way if we add another piece to the puzzle and physical presence down low, along with a shooter. So thank you for your time. This is Joseph Phillips signing off. God bless you.